In this video, we will learn about the sense of hearing or the ability to perceive sounds. Since our ear contains receptors for equilibrium, this organ also plays a major role in maintaining balance and spatial orientation. Let's now look at the anatomy of the human ear. Our ear is divided into three main regions: the external, middle, and the internal ear. The external ear is composed of this fleshy structure known as the auricle or pinna. It is primarily made up of elastic cartilage, and in many animals it is effective at collecting sound waves and directing them to the inner parts. This rim of the auricle is the helix, while this inferior portion is called lobule. Still part of the external ear is this short, narrow tube called the external auditory canal, which is about 1 inch long. It is lined with hairs and ceruminous glands that produce a modified sebum called earwax or cerumen. This is helpful at repelling or providing a sticky trap for insects and other foreign objects, thereby preventing them from reaching the inner parts of the ear. However, overproduction of these secretions may lead to impacted cerumen and interfere with hearing. This can be treated by ear irrigation or earwax removal. At this end of the auditory canal is a thin, semi-transparent tympanic membrane or eardrum that separates the external auditory canal and the middle ear. It is about 1 centimeter in diameter and slightly concave on its outer surface. Because of its thin or delicate structure, rupture or tearing of the tympanic membrane may occur. This is usually caused by trauma, differential pressures, entry of foreign objects, or an infection of the middle ear. If untreated, rupture of the tympanic membrane may result in hearing impairment. The middle ear is a small air-filled cavity located within the temporal bone. It is separated from the external ear by the tympanic membrane and from the internal ear by this thin bony partition that has two small openings, the oval window and the round window. The middle ear cavity, are also known as tympanic cavity, contains the three smallest bones in the body, which are named based on their shapes. These are the malleus or hammer, incus or anvil, and stapes or stirrup. The malleus is attached to the internal surface of the tympanic membrane through its handle, while its head is connected with the body of the incus. Subsequently, the incus articulates with the head of the stapes with a base that fits into the oval window. The two tiniest skeletal muscles are also contained in the middle ear. This tensor tympani muscle limits excessive movement of the eardrum to prevent damage to the inner ear from loud vibrations caused by noises or loud sounds. Large vibrations of the stapes due to loud noises is inhibited by the stapedius muscle in order to protect the oval window. Aside from this, it also decreases the sensitivity of hearing. With this, the inner ear is protected from damages due to loud noises. However, because both muscles contract quite longer, they cannot respond immediately to sudden, loud, and brief sounds like gunshot. Also located in the middle ear cavity is the pharyngotympanic or eustachian or auditory tube. Take note that the auditory tube is different from the auditory canal. This opening, which serves as air passageway from the middle ear, is important in equalizing air pressures between the middle ear and the environment outside. An unequal pressure prevents the tympanic membrane from vibrating freely, thus making hearing difficult. In most cases, changes in altitude also alter the tympanic membrane. As a result, one may hear ringing sounds, may feel pain in the eardrum, and sounds seem muffled. These can be relieved by yawning, swallowing, and chewing to open the auditory tube and allow air to enter or leave the tympanic cavity and equalize the pressures. When the pressures are balanced outside and inside, the tympanic membrane vibrates freely as sound waves strike it. Unfortunately, the auditory tube can also be a route for pathogens to travel from the nose and throat to the middle ear, causing ear infections such as otitis media. In this picture, we can see that the auditory tube of infants and young children is relatively shorter and horizontal. This facilitates easier spread of pathogens from the nose or throat to the middle ear. This is also the reason why holding an infant horizontally while breastfeeding increases the risk of ear infections. Meanwhile, in adults, the tube is longer, which leads to slower spread of pathogens. Its oblique orientation also allows better drainage of the middle ear. The inner or internal ear is also called the labyrinth because of its maze-like structure. This region contains the sensory organs for both hearing and equilibrium. The internal ear has two main divisions, the outer bony labyrinth and an inner membranous labyrinth. The bony labyrinth is filled with a plasma-like fluid called perilymph. The membranous labyrinth, which houses the receptors for hearing and equilibrium, also contains fluid called endolymph. The bony labyrinth is further divided into three areas: the semicircular canal, the vestibule, and the cochlea. Both the semicircular canal and vestibule are involved in equilibrium, while the cochlea is the organ of hearing. The vestibule consists of a pair of sacs, the saccule and the utricle, and receptors in these sacs provide equilibrium sensations. The cochlea has three chambers. The superior chamber that begins near this oval window is called the scala vestibuli. This inferior chamber is the scala tympani, which coils and ends in the round window. The middle chamber is the cochlear duct or scala media. Within the cochlear duct is the spiral organ of Corti, which contains the hearing receptors or hair cells. The cochlear duct is separated from the scala vestibuli above by this thin vestibular membrane and from the scala tympani below by this basilar membrane. Both the scala vestibuli and scala tympani contain the fluid perilymph, while the cochlear duct contains the fluid endolymph.